stream. There's nothing wrong with the premium stream. So, start up again, right? No, 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 no. No, I want to go back. Yeah, okay. See, here's the thing. If I schedule this stream, it's a pain in my ass about this big. If I just go on and hit stream and start a new stream on you, it's a piece of cake. Maybe not, though. There's some things. Let me try this. Yeah, let me look at something. Help and support. Is there an answer to my question? Let me log in. Yep, that's me. Got a paying subscriber. But they're overhauling their live stream platform, so I'm still waiting to hear back from that. Yeah, I never got an answer. Let's go again. Let's see. Messages. Yeah, just don't worry your pretty little heads about what I'm doing. Oh. Hi, any word on when live streaming will be back up? Thanks. I don't think there's anybody there. I think they've taken the holiday off. The team will be back tomorrow. Right. But it says we're overhauling. Everything else works. So it's not, but OnlyFans, I'm going to go ahead and start streaming to OnlyFans again. But don't worry, I'm not shutting down the other site. Because it doesn't cost me. Now that I have all this and I have the true broadband internet, I can stream to OnlyFans. I can stream to... If Restream would just monetize... Because most people are really not using the website for jack shit. That's fine with me. I plan on using that website for teaching my classes and things like that. I put the Stones Unturned podcast on there because I can, and it costs me nothing to do that. But if Restream would just add a monetization feature, They've got them all beat, but they won't. Let me just check this one time. Streaming has been temporarily disabled while we work on improving the look and functionality of the service. So whatever. Everything's paid for until the end of May anyway, or most of it's paid for longer than that. So don't worry about it. Even if once the restream expires, that doesn't affect the premium website whatsoever. I know how to fix my own private streaming server. The reason it was lagging, people showed up for a change, and I have to manually tweak that video server. It's no big deal. I can do that. My rate goes up a penny a day when I do that. So, but for now, I'm just going to stick with Restream as the embedded player, and blah blah blah, and just not worry about it till spring. But I'll start streaming to OnlyFans again. Because the one-stop shopping thing, I can have a store on OnlyFans. The one-stop shopping thing, in my mind, well, for me, the one-stop shopping is fabulous. For other people, don't seem to really give it yet. They just want to watch the videos. So, and to watch the videos I'm going to be making, really going to be making that we cannot put on YouTube, let alone Facebook, you got to pay a little bit. But there's multiple platforms for that, so. Am I back on Facebook? Yeah. Looks gorgeous, I think. I think it looks gorgeous. Some of you people are you getting... Where are the stream settings? Output. Streaming. It's probably streaming high def. I won't be on very long. You're not missing a damn thing. Output. Stream. Output. Output mode. I can't change it. So you guys might be getting killed on bandwidth. If you're getting killed on bandwidth, just click off until Sunday afternoon. I didn't know if this was going to work at all, how complicated it was going to be for me to switch back and forth. It isn't the slightest bit complicated for me to switch back and forth. Actually, I can do that right now. I can't do it during the middle of the stream. So, I was just going to talk about a few things that I'm going to talk about later. Hi, Creepy Crawl. 4 viewers, that's not bad. I'm not going to be on too long, guys. Look at chat. Hi, channel. You're the only what channel? Yeah, there are two. I'm streaming to 2 different restreams, which you guys don't even have access to. See, I can stream 3 episodes to restream. They don't seem to be ticklish. So I can stream to restream if I'm going to do free episodes. They don't have to be YouTube. It's just that I got so many fans on YouTube. And I'm going to transition over to Professor Dad, obviously, super quick. You're going to see a lot of red, white, and blue. You're going to see... I don't know how many of my British fans are going to give a rat's ass about Professor Dad. I don't know how many of them give a rat's ass about Trump. Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan are super popular in Britain. Super popular. I have a feeling Trump's pretty popular. But let's look at some news while we're here. Maybe you guys love the vertical video. I don't know. I just think it looks really good on Okay. Here, now I don't know much about these people. Hi, Adam. Listen to this long, boring conversation. It gets interesting. Hold on. Okay.
And they said, we put far too many people on intubated ventilators. So
How do I rewind this? Real.
I called doctors in Wuhan and said, what are the biggest mistakes that you made in the first wave? This was early on. And they said, we put far too many people on intubated ventilators. So then I actually posted on Twitter at the time and said, hey, what I'm hearing from Wuhan is that they made a big mistake in putting people on intubated ventilators for an extended period. And that this is actually what is damaging the lungs, not COVID. It's the treatment. The cure is worse than the disease. And people yelled at me and said, I'm not a doctor. I'm like, yeah, but I do just make spaceships with life support systems. What do you do? I called doctors in Wuhan and said, what are the biggest mistakes that you made in the first wave? This was early on.
Did you catch that? COVID lung wasn't caused by, he's saying COVID lung was not caused by COVID virus. COVID lung was caused by leaving people on intubated, the invasive for too long. This is what a doctor in Wuhan told him. I'm just going to put that out there. The new $4 billion Panasonic electric, I got to figure out something about this stuff too. Electric vehicle battery factory requires so much electricity that the facility will need its own coal-fired plant to run. I've been shopping for a new conspiracy theory. Listen to this guy.
Understand white people, some of education, you got to study Greek history to understand Greeks and white history to understand cave people. They came from the caves. So we don't know cave civilization, cave rituals. They brick up the walls in England. You can't even go in the caves in Nottingham. They bricked up. You go in there, it'll lock you up.
I told you.
So we have no access to their history. Right. But they go to our graveyards and Chinese over in Egypt. You know what I'm saying. They're in there. They study us to market to us to control us. Mm-hmm. But we don't study them, so.
I told you. I'm not saying he doesn't have a point or two. What I'm saying is, I told you. I told you. And I'm telling you, Michelle Obama, or Michael Obama, or whatever you want to call them, believes in this. I'm not saying it's completely insane. This is good. This is a scene from Bernie Miller. Do you remember Bernie Miller?
Trilateral Commission. It's an organization founded in 1973 by David Rockefeller to bring together business and political leaders from the United States, Europe, Japan, so they could work together for better economic and political cooperation between their nations.
That's what they'd like us to believe. But you see, what they're really up to is a scheme to plant their own loyal members in positions of power in this country, to work to erase national boundaries and create an international community, and in time bring about a one world government with David Rockefeller calling the shots.
All right, what is the Trilateral Commission?
Yeah. I'm going to love doing this show. I could talk about this all day. Let me just fix something on the fly here. Because I'm going to use this a lot. I think I like the vertical format. Because there's so many, I just got to keep up with the times. Okay, there's that. Up. Okay, how about this? Now what I need to do is that's the same. That just stays the same. I guess it just stays the same. No, I need to do a separate one. Yeah, I think that'll work. I think that's give me 1 second. Okay, now what I need to do is resize this to fit in the top half or bottom half of this window. That's what I need to do. Like that. Snap to, thank you. Drag this down here. Hold on. To the bottom, thank you. Okay, now. That works. Okay, now I can see the full monitor. Or you can see the video.
All right, what is the Trilateral Commission? It's an organization founded in 1973 by David Rockefeller to bring together business and political leaders from the United States, Europe, Japan, so they could work together for better economic and political cooperation between their nations.
And with that's what they'd like us to believe. But you see, what they're really up to is a scheme to plant their own loyal members in positions of power in this country, to work to erase national boundaries and create an international community, and in time bring about a one world government with David Rockefeller calling the shots.
All right, what is...
Okay, so maybe David Rockefeller is no longer calling the shots. How does that make the rest of this a crazy conspiracy theory? Hold on. Okay, I know. Okay, one more thing. No, that's it. That's what I needed right there. Okay, good. I just got to get used to doing this. That's all. I think I can actually simplify that quite a bit. I'll do that off the air. So, yeah. Do you think it looks... Probably makes more sense with me in the top part of the screen and the slideshow in the bottom part of the screen. I think that works great. I think it looks fucking great. Now let me bring this up here so you guys can get the full effect of my fabulous wardrobe. See, there's a... Like that. There's that. There's that. There's that. There's that. Yeah, what's wrong with that? What the hell's wrong with that? I can't see anything wrong with that. Turn on the... Here, let's get to full effect. Remember how to turn these on. I thought I had it bad. Have you ever seen the cockpit of an ME-109? It's like it's contoured around the shoulders, like you're in there. You are Spam in a can. And there we go. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's it. Professor Dad reads the conspiracy theories, let alone the news. Yeah, I think this will work good. I think this will work real good. I think this works real good. Let's watch some more conspiracy theories. Give me your doubts. Give me your prognostications. Give me your conspiracy theories, Aaron. Speaking of which, let's take a look at some Aaron Rodgers conspiracy theories. I'll find some. This is what I wanted to talk about. I hadn't paid attention to a lot of this stuff. Let me see what this looks like. So here's how the story went. Here's how the story went. That Trump had denied permission to deploy the National Guard on January 6th. That turns out to be a lie. He did authorize the deployment of the National Guard on January 6th. Maybe I should get back to that. Let's play that real quick. There's a meme for that. Tucker Carlson said he interviewed this guy.
Human sources dressed as Trump supporters inside the Capitol on January the 6th prior to the doors being opened.
Hold on. You need to hear the whole thing. Sorry. Come on.
Did you have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters inside the Capitol on January the 6th prior to the doors being opened?
Again, I had to be very careful.
It should be a no.
And then I interviewed the chief of the Capitol Police, Stephen's son.
Did you have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters inside the Capitol on January the 6th prior to the doors being opened?
Again, I had to be very careful.
It should be a no.
Yeah, he's right. It should be a no. Now, where's the clip I'm looking for? We're going to talk. Oh, yeah. Donna Lass. This video, this is the fight between Ali and not Tommy Connor. What was his name? I've been telling you people about this fight for years.
He picked up a golden cardboard crown left over from some pantomime, stuck it on his head, and proclaimed, "I am the king." That night, in the open air of Wembley Stadium, Henry Cooper and Cassius Clay faced each other.
Henry Cooper, and he was still called Cassius Clay. There's a very interesting story behind that whole entire. Listen. This is what I'm talking about.
Personally, I believe the migrant situation in Chicago and New York is being led by the federal government. They're spearheading this to basically erase black people politically. Chicago has the only predominantly black U.S. congressional district in the entire country. That's why Obama had a lane. Carol Moseley Braun had a lane. Most of your modern black senators, we've only had a handful, they came from Chicago because y'all have the only predominantly black U.S. congressional district. So they want to switch that out for Latinos. That's why they're here, to replace us politically. I suspect that at some future point in time, if they're not already doing it, they're going to fast track the migrants in Chicago and New York to full citizenship so they can vote. And I wouldn't be surprised if they'll be eligible to vote in time for next November's presidential election. This is a purge of black by brown, and this is a takeover because Chicago and New York are our two strongest and largest black communities and black consciousness communities. So they want to blot that out. The strategy is if we can take New York and take Chicago, the rest of black America doesn't stand a chance.
I'm telling you two things. Number one, there are a lot more black people voted for Trump than what they admitted the last time. A lot more women did. This time, if Trump wins Chicago, and if he carries the black vote, he'll win Chicago. He'll win the election. Or Atlanta, or New York. They're fed up. Remember the whole Trump thing. Before Trump, they were grasping, right? These, dare I say it, rednecks were grasping because the Republicans I'm not talking about white people like the Bushes and the Clintons making all this money. I mean the white people in all of these red counties had been promised the moon and stars by the Republicans for 40 years. And like Southern Illinois, coal mining country, they got completely fed up with all these fake maverick outsider candidates. And they grabbed Donald Trump and ignored a whole bunch of stuff that they probably wouldn't have cared for. Now, I am telling you, every black person I have talked to lately, and I don't ask, they're just telling me. I knew some that like, hey, I'll say this for no. This time around, locking him up, and these indictments, all that did was prove to them, let alone your normal MAGA people. That proved to a lot of people he's not a member of the club. Now, maybe that's all fake. I don't know. But it was the stupidest thing they could have done. I'm telling you, if he runs as an independent, if he runs in as a write-in candidate, he's going to get 60% of the vote. Now, but this is what I'm telling you. It's not the stereotype of the conspiracy theorist is some beer-drinking redneck, white redneck. No. Trust me. And when conspiracy theories converge, Trump got robbed or Trump, watch out. Okay. What was my point? This is interesting. I don't vouch for any of these videos. I just play them on the show. No.
First question, why would they have deleted the security footage?
They didn't.
They didn't.
They didn't. That was one of those kind of surprising charges there because DOJ subpoenaed the footage.
I don't know this guy.
All over.
Are you serious?
I am. Their claim is that some people had a discussion about deleting footage and that some of the employees said, can we delete the footage? And the answer was, no, you can't delete the footage. And that's the charge. So no footage was deleted.
The charge is that they had a discussion about deleting the footage.
Yeah, I don't know who either one of those guys is. I don't vouch for either one of them. I just put this out there. This one is interesting. Contractors, they're moving all these migrant kids that have no parents.
Where are you guys moving these kids to? Do you guys have paperwork for these kids?
Don't worry about it.
You know, a third of these kids go missing.
Sorry.
You guys know anything about this? About these guys moving these kids through the airport?
Yeah.
Straight up.
It's America.
Welcome to America. Where are you guys moving these kids to?
I can't believe that video hasn't been deleted. Maybe Zuckerberg, listen, Zuckerberg didn't want to censor shit. He had censorship for, you think you had censorship for, wait a minute, what is this? Hold on. Oh, crap. Can I put that back? Yes. Yeah, I think I know what I need to do. Oh, hold on. I haven't, now there's thousands of things I haven't seen, I didn't know about. I really don't pay attention to what politicians say, no matter how outrageous or how convalescent, how comatose. I just watch what they do. Overall, I didn't have a problem with Trump. I thought he did some things pretty well. And if you want to bitch, vaccine, if you're going to brag about that vaccine, he did, he fast-tracked the vaccine, remember? And told people we got to get our shots. Remember? He didn't preach about it every single day. He didn't make it the linchpin of his reelection campaign. He signed every single one of those stimulus bills. He asked for more. He asked for $5 trillion in stimulus spending. So I don't know what he could have done a whole lot differently. Who knows what? I don't know. What I mean is, I didn't know anything about this. There's a video, according to the story, the claim was that the audio of this video had been jacked up. But somebody found a version of the video. I don't know. Maybe you've all heard these, and maybe this is a bunch of nothing. Where's the one? How about this? Joe Biden and Mitt Romney and Nancy Pelosi and John Kerry all had kids working as board members in the Ukraine. And why has Mark Wahlberg's publicist been so busy lately? You're going to find out on Sunday. Now, there's a video, damn it. Is that one? I'll come back to Michael Stenger in just a minute. See, that's another thing I really hadn't paid any attention to. Oh, you've seen this? The group that once Trump kicked off the primary ballot in Colorado. Have you seen this?
Find a legal hook to push our issues hard.
Who are some of the biggest donors you have, and is there a restriction on how much money they can give you?
We don't have any restriction, but I would say our biggest donors are, for example, the Open Society Institute is a very big donor.
And whose organization is that?
Well, it's a foundation, but it's well known to be George Soros is the one who funds it.
There's a documentary on YouTube right now. It is called Black Wednesday, and it's about George Soros destroying the British pound and making $1 billion in $1 billion in 1997 dollars in a single day, destroying the British currency. You don't need to see my history. Hold on. Not even my YouTube history. Pay no attention to my YouTube history. How about season 7 of Rick and Morty? That's not too bad. Watch America's Dumbest Heist. Watch America's Dumbest Heist. It's good. I've been watching every Enoch Powell video I can find. Not because I agree with everything he says. He just expresses himself so clearly, and it can be very persuasive if you have half a brain. Here, just watch 1 minute of this. This is what the BBC...
If you're shopping for your first rental property, then you definitely need our free rental analysis calculator.
We've never had a show like this on American television, not even public television. Sorry. Here we go.
Although at times in the first half of the debate I was wondering whether we were discussing whether the Conservative Party would survive. We discussed in the first
I won't make you listen to the whole thing.
Pay policy and the possibility of a winter of discontent. In this half of the program I would like to discuss the issues.
In those days, okay, remember Adolf Hitler abolished all labor unions and created one state labor front. The National Labor Front, which was merged into the KDF. If you didn't have a job, they found you a job. They set wages, they set prices, okay? They had one. In Britain, you had the coal miners union, you had railroad union, you had auto union, but they were government labor fronts. And labor leaders were government civil servants. I'm not kidding. I'm not saying Margaret Thatcher solved anything. What I'm saying is she knew what the problem was. But these are members of parliament, and they're sitting around having
the common market and devolution, which will be coming up during the next few months. On the common market, Dennis Skinner, is this still an issue in the country, do you think, or are we just going to go ahead with slowly becoming more and more part of Europe?
Oh no, it's very much a growing issue. In actual fact, there are more people now against the market, I would have thought, in the country than there has been at any time since the legislation was passed
The
several years
British
ago.
people never
And,
wanted it.
there's plenty
Never.
of evidence for this, not only
Never.
opinion polls, but the people that you meet in the street. In fact, you can hardly find anybody, you know, that seems to say that they voted in favour at the time of the referendum.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's going to be a very big issue in the general election because, as you probably know, the fishermen are against the whole idea of the way in which they're being treated, and there are many fishing constituencies. There's the question of the North Sea.
If I
oil,
look
in which
down,
the,
looks like I'm watching it.
Germans and the French are anxious to try to get their hands on some of that. In fact, it could be argued that they've got their hands already on 10% under certain circumstances, like an Arab-Israeli conflict. There's the question of steel, many steel constituencies, many people engaged in steel, where the common...
Well, I voted as a member of my party to go into the common market, and I don't regret that I did it. What I do regret very much is that, in fact, the market itself, in the way it's been manipulated, that there are very grave anomalies.
Is this a survival issue for Jim Callaghan and the government, though, as
No,
Dennis
I
Skinner
don't-
seems
I
to
mean,
be suggesting?
No, not for
No,
us.
just
No.
a minute, Dennis. You've had a very good go. Fact is, as far as I'm concerned, I don't see this as being one of the great issues.
But I think there's an added dimension in Scotland. You know, when Dennis talks about the Germans and the French are trying to get their hands on British oil, well, we feel
She's a
the same
Scottish
way about
separatist,
a lot of our
member of
resources in
Parliament.
Scotland, which we feel the British government has used in the same way as the common market has British resources. And we would like to see a situation in Scotland, if the people of Scotland still want to be in the common market, that there must be separate Scottish representation to put the particular
This
Scottish
is
dimension
reason number
to the Commission's backdrop
1213,
instead of
why
being dragged along
England
in a
will
situation where
never
interests and
successfully
ultimate
be a
conflict in the
part of
UK.
Europe.
And at the same time, I think
And everybody
the
has
UK
been
as a whole could
saying so
benefit
for
if
100
there were,
years.
say, the Welsh, the English, and the Scottish dimension.
I think the number one reason Hitler never bothered to invade England was because he knew it wouldn't work. If they hadn't been such rat-gagging bastards, the Nazis had unified Europe, and there were plenty of people who thought that was a pretty good idea. They just, if they'd been ruled by a competent party and did that, people would have let it go. The European Union was not something that they thought of after the war. They had been working on that. Hitler took advantage of a lot of that. An awful lot of these unionist parties in these countries, you know, before they found out just exactly who they were dealing with. Vichy France, there was this merging of the Reich with Vichy France. That had been on the table for 40 years, even before World War I. Had been on the table. They have Scottish separatists in their
Hey, what do you
in the
say? Would you like to join me
in their
and come over
parliament.
for a cup of Joe? Well, big news.
It is an issue
apologize
that
for
affects
that.
the life of this government. Do you know,
Well,
Powell, will you answer
yeah,
that at all?
Yes, it not only is an issue, but it will remain an issue.
This is him putting his
market, because
finger on the
membership, in
crux
my
of a
opinion,
problem.
Is incompatible with the nature and the institutions of this country.
He was absolutely
and it will
right.
be an election issue because the Prime Minister knows perfectly well the rising tide of antagonism amongst the electorate to membership, whether they're mistaken or not. That's not the point. But he knows perfectly well that it's of increasing unpopularity, and he has the ability, which is not in the hands of the opposition as they've got themselves painted into a corner, to capitalize on that. And that is what he's starting to do, in my opinion, by his utterances at the Mansion House, and we shall see that followed up in the context of EMS.
Yep.
So there is a source of public, popular...
He's right. The British people, besides the fact they want to have a special relationship with the United States, apart from being, they don't want to have a unified, the British do not want to have a unified foreign policy with the rest of Europe. They do not want to have a unified monetary policy, and they don't want to have a unified fiscal policy. They want to stay in their Commonwealth, but Canada isn't part of the European Union. It would never work. It worked. If you replace the British people with robots, it would work great. When you ignore the voters, what happens? Now, that was my point. We don't have shows like this. Was a great show. That's why I love watching I love watching Are You Being Served? And I love watching Yes Minister. What was the video I was looking for? There's some documentaries. If you like Yes Minister, they made a series of documentaries. The Real Humphrey Appleby, How to Be Home Secretary, How to Be Foreign Secretary, Life in the Whips Off. They're good. The BBC had never done anything like that before. Not until after Yes Minister was on. He made William F. Buckley look like an idiot. Enoch Powell was on William F. Buckley and made Buckley look like an idiot. There's all these guys.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. We are back again. Today, guys, we're going to check out Enoch Powell was right. Okay, you guys asked me to check this one out, so I'm going to jump right on it, okay? And listen to what Enoch Powell has got to say.
So he's
okay,
West Indian, British subject.
Watching a nation busily engaged in heaping up its own funeral pyre.
British Conservative politician Enoch Powell. In 1968, he delivered a speech to a Birmingham branch of
Yes, I'm
the
kissing the
Conservative
asses of my
Party,
British
which was later
fans
dubbed
right now.
The Rivers of Blood speech. In it, Powell quoted Virgil's poem, the Aeneid, in which Virgil, envisaging a war, pictured the river Tiber foaming with much blood. Powell's foreboding was based on his observation that Britons were starting to feel like strangers in their own land.
First of all, I want to say I'm happy about immigration. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that racism has been put in check, okay? But immigration is not about taking over. Like I said, it's not about taking over. It's not an invasion, okay? That's not what it's meant to be, all right? One is meant to immigrate and become part and parcel.
So anyway, what's the video I'm looking for? I forgot. Do you guys remember what video I'm looking for? The Fall of Minneapolis. Haven't watched that yet. The Discord leaks. Dr. Sarah. Oh, I was going to say something about Enoch Powell for Secretary of State. Dr. Gene Scott, Secretary of Education. Secretary of War. Stop calling it Secretary of Defense. Secretary of War. General Smedley Butler. What was the... Well, thanks, Sticky Marks. Website after streaming here. I'm on the premium website now. This is all a free episode. I'm just testing this whole vertical video idea and see how people... Well, Trudy, the thing about... Remember, Trump wanted people to call him Mr. Real Estate. I'm not defending Trump. I'm just his biggest fan. Oh, yeah, they destroyed Powell for that. But the people were on his side. That's my point. Well, Adam, we're going to talk about... Marky Mark had actual street cred. Of all the rappers, Marky Mark had real street... You know, he was an out of prison when he was a kid. He was a thug. He was a thug when he was like 12. What was the video I said I was going to show you guys? It was right here. It was the Donald Trump. I said, we'll come back and watch that in a minute. Here it is. Here's the supposedly had the decode problem. I don't know what the conspiracy theory was, but here's the video. Let's see what the big deal is about. You guys know what this is about?
Hey, I asked the sheriffs, can you imagine this? We have somebody in what I call the failing New York Times that's talking about he's part of the resistance within the Trump administration. This is what we have to deal with. And, you know, the dishonest media, because you people deal with it as well as I do, but it's really a disgrace. I will say this. Nobody has done what this administration's done in terms of getting things passed and getting things through. An article was just printed, just came out a few minutes ago. Trump breaks the record for budget gridlock wins, scores big win. So for 20 years, it's a 20-year record. For 20-year record, they call it the fouled up budget gridlock, and scores big win. Here's your thing. So this just came out. So in 20 years, it hasn't been like it is now.
There were none of these phony baloney budget shutdowns under Trump, remember?
We broke it. That's just really positive stuff. And then in addition to that, point after point after point, if you look, almost 4 million jobs created since the election, of which many are young. More Americans now employed than ever recorded in our history. So we have more people working today than at any point ever in our history. We've created 400,000 manufacturing jobs. Manufacturing jobs are growing at the fastest pace in more than 30 years. Economic growth last quarter was 4%.
So why is this poster talking about the video had a problem? Supposedly, the audio had a problem. What was the video I was looking for? What was I talking about? It was on YouTube. What was I going to show you? Oh, about the Black Wednesday. About George Soros. Sorry. I hope that took long enough. This is it. Black Wednesday, BBC, 1997.
Are you tired of your YouTube channel not getting the attention it deserves?
Yeah.
Building a YouTube channel can be a very lucrative...
Table and said,
Very
Andrew,
lucrative.
don't you understand? There is no alternative.
But the Germans were about to increase the pain. The men who ran Germany's central bank prepared to meet. It wasn't politicians, but the...
There
was no introduction, no conclusion.
$1 billion was what we were spending in a few hours. And we reached 2 or 3 or 4 or even 5. Now, this was $1 billion. This was, for me at least, an astonishing amount of money.
To buy the pound, to support the pound. And it turns out...
credibility would be gravely damaged. Inside the ERM.
Of all the political events I can...
$1 billion, and the fall was more than...
There we go.
Fortunes they made on
Here
Black
he is.
Wednesday.
Here he is. 1997.
It was $1 billion, in excess of $1 billion of profits, because we had a position approaching, I think, $10 billion, and the fall was more than 10%.
21. He made $1 billion on Black Wednesday. And he's the one who is bankrolling the effort to get Trump off the primary ballot in Colorado. No one else is trying to do this. It's not some mass resistance against Trump. It's George Soros and a couple of other people. Did I show you this one already?
Did you have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters inside the Capitol on January the 6th prior to the doors being open?
Again, I had to be very careful.
It should be a no.
Yeah, why can't you just say no? But where was the... That's probably it for today. For videos. No. So now there's another one. The guy who died, the chief of the Capitol Police, this guy. Yeah, what? No, that's the video I showed you the other day. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe you remember. The video where the guy said, no, it was not Trump who didn't want the National Guard. It was the chief of the Capitol Police. And the mayor said no. That's not this.
This is what happens when you boo.
Yeah, okay. $20 Biden shell companies. What's this one?
Message was sent to Henry Zhao, a senior Chinese communist, from Hunter Biden.
Yeah, can you see
that
who's...
reads as follows. I'm sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now before it gets...
Yeah, you see who made that, whose post that was, right? What the hell is going on? You saw whose channel that was. Where's... Okay. Maybe it's gone. Maybe it got deleted. But it usually says that video got deleted. Yeah, I don't know. What about this guy? Clay Higgins, ghost buses brought FBI informants to Washington, D.C. Oh, Adam Schiff with Jeffrey Epstein, and you see what's on the thing, right? No, you don't. Hold on. Let me just do it like this. See that? Okay. Why can I... Come on, what's going on? There we go. Security forces Dallas Cowboys fan to stay and watch the whole game. Ex-KNBC news producer charged with distribution of child pornography. Dateline May 4th, 2023. Phil Dreschler of Santa Clarita. May 2023. KNBC Los Angeles, right? Yeah. That's a top 20 market. It's a top 5 market. What happened to that video? I just played it for you guys. Just the other day. Anyway, it wasn't Trump who did it. It was the mayor. So this guy, the chief of the Capitol Police, who said we don't need the National Guard, he was set to testify. The Senate Sergeant-at-Arms during the Capitol riot, Michael Stenger, died on Monday, one day before the committee investigated the attack, is set to reveal new evidence in a surprising hearing on Tuesday. Stinger's death was reported on Monday, but the cause of his sudden passing at age 71 has not been disclosed. To this day, they've never said anything about a cause of death. Not one word about a cause of death. He was the one who declined National Guard troops. He wasn't the only one. He and the mayor both said no National Guard. According to testimony from Capitol Police Chief Steve Sund, I'm sorry, the Sergeant-at-Arms who's in charge of the security in the Senate chamber, he was supposed to testify. According to testimony from Capitol Police Chief Steve Sund, Stenger, together with House Sergeant-at-Arms Paul D. Irving, refused his early request to call the National Guard ahead of the mob's assault on the Capitol. Sund said he asked 6 times for aid from the National Guard, but these requests were either rejected or delayed. And the media blamed this on Trump. Well, they probably got told it was Trump's fault. I'm trying to find that video where the guy said so, but the video of Steve Sund. Let me just see if I can find it. How many videos of Steve Sund could there be?
All right, thank you, Mike. Well, we are now hearing from the former Capitol Police Chief for the first time since resigning from his position following the attack. Stephen Sund says that he asked the Senate and House Sergeant-at-Arms to bring in the National Guard and was continuously denied. He says by the time extra help arrived, the riots had already become deadly.
These officers were fighting. They were fighting for hours to protect that Capitol. I saw officers get hit with fire extinguishers being thrown at them, poles, these people came with baseball bats, metal poles.
Where were all the guns? Where were all the bombs? Insurrection? I lived across the street from Ferguson. And I'm not calling that an insurrection.
They were throwing it, over and over at the officers. We prepare for it all the time. We prepare for, various events. Again, this was something I've never seen.
Sund says he takes responsibility as chief of the department. He says he feels in the National Guard and was continuously denied.
See, they're trying to make it look like it's Trump who denied, but it wasn't. That was my point. There, point made. You can all go back to your lives now. No autopsy. Here's another article. Oh, he said about professional agitators. In February the same year, talking to the Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs, Stenger said investigations should have looked into the role of what appears to be professional agitators present during the riot. You mean professional FBI informants present during the riot? Because, among others, Rico Terrio? No. Terrio. The 5 leaders of the Proud Boys all paid FBI informants. They've been collecting back pay while they've been in prison, and they're getting out next month. Don't do it again. The report blamed the Department of Homeland Security's Office of Intelligence and Analysis for issuing no intelligence products specific to January 6th. You should go to a high school basketball game in Indiana sometime. You want to see an insurrection? You want to see a riot? I'm not kidding. Death not considered suspicious. NBC News. Michael Stenger, the former sergeant at arms who did not want National Guard. Stenger had cancer. Oh, that explains why he died the day before the hearing started. Spent much of his career working for the Secret Service. Captain in the U.S. Marine Corps. U.S. Capitol Police declined to comment. The medical examiner in Virginia did not handle his death, a spokesman said, indicating it was not considered suspicious. So the medical... He can't possibly be suspicious. How could the death of anyone in that key of a position, when all of these high stakes congressional hearings are about to kick off, he dies the day before the hearing starts? You see how there can't possibly be anything suspicious about it. Why not just say the stress, a heart attack, finally died? Nothing suspicious? Nothing suspicious. There's nothing suspicious about 37 former Clinton employees and aides committing suicide. There's nothing suspicious about that whatsoever. There couldn't possibly be anything less suspicious than that. Okay, that's J.P. Morgan earned 1/5 of all U.S. bank profits. What a shock. NewYorkPost.com. Welcome to planet Earth. The Michigan Supreme Court, it will not be. Yes, you will be hearing about Christine Maxwell and Isabel Maxwell real soon. Oh, here's the other news. Sorry. Speaking of the so-called Zodiac Killer, supposedly a nurse named Donna Lass might be a potential Zodiac Killer victim. She disappeared in 1971. She was working at a casino in State Line, Nevada. That's on the southeast coast of Lake Tahoe. Well, DNA has identified a skull that sheriff's deputies found. I want to read you this whole thing. Drew Beeson announced this yesterday. My hero, Drew Beeson. Placer County Sheriff's Office. I'll show you where that is in just a second. Donna Lass reported missing. There was a private detective hired. 1986, Placer County Sheriff's Office located an unidentified skull. Placer County Sheriff's Office couldn't find their ass with both hands and a flashlight. How did they locate this skull? And what were they looking for? Placer County is massive. I mean, and they have like 5 deputies. So they don't have time to find their asses with both hands and a flashlight. They got DNA. They've identified the skull as belonging to poor Donna Lass. She was a nurse who worked at Letterman General Hospital on the grounds of the Presidio, where she might have been on duty the night that they brought in Paul Stein. Nobody really knows for sure. It's possible. She worked there. But she was a pediatric nurse, and that was when the scandal came out about Michael Aquino and his buddies first time being accused of molesting children. And it was nurses at Letterman General Hospital who blew the whistle. And a few months later, and she moves out of town, and eventually she disappeared. So they found her body. They found her skull. Where's the rest of her body? But they found it Interstate 80, and you come over Donner Pass and Truckee Pass, and there's Truckee Lake, and Route 20 branches off of that. Near that exit is where her skull was found. This is big news. So I'm thinking this is not a Zodiac crime, because Zodiac never covered up any bodies. I know it's possible he covered up bodies and nobody ever. That's not what I'm talking about. My first thought was there's a big Boy Scout camp exit you get off to go. The Boy Scout camp is like half a mile or so from where her body was discovered. Well, they haven't said exactly where her body was discovered. Off Highway 20. Well, there was another, but you don't understand. Another body was found there in the spring. Somebody had dumped the nude body of a woman who'd been strangled to death on the side of Route 20 off that exit from Interstate 84. That sounds exactly like the Santa Rosa hitchhiker slayer. That sounds exactly like the Santa Rosa hitchhiker slayer. But my question is this. Donna Lass, they have not identified that Jane Doe yet. If Donna Lass, who was working on the southeast coast, of Lake Tahoe, how could her body be found all the way up here? Why would they drive her body all the way around the mountain, get on Interstate 80, and then turn around and try to dump her body? She was obviously in Reno at the time she disappeared. Somebody killed her in Reno and drove the body across the state line and dumped it at that exit, because there's another highway. If you kill somebody in State Line, Nevada, and you want to dump the body in California, you take the road to the southwest. You don't take the road going all the way up the West Coast and then double back and get on 84 and then get off again on 80. You don't do that. So she was obviously killed in Reno. Why was her body dumped near a Boy Scout camp? Because remember, Mount Diablo, that was the national still is that's where Camp Paris is held, right? At Mount Diablo, that Boy Scout camp. That had been an Explorer Scout camp before they merged with the Boy Scouts, and it was the merger with the Explorer Scouts where you get this massive pedophile scandal in the Boy Scouts. The first class action lawsuit was filed against the Boy Scouts of America because there were thousands of victims. Over 1,000 known pedophiles that had been blacklisted by the Boy Scouts of America, no cops ever called. You know who was the president of the Boy Scouts of America organization? Mike Pompeo Sr., and then his son is Mike Pompeo Jr., and when the Boy Scouts, they dropped their policy, no gay Scout leaders, and then a few years later, now we have another massive Boy Scout pedophile scandal. It's a whole new generation of victims. And Mike Pompeo Jr. was president of the Boy Scouts of America at that time. Why were those girls' bodies found there? And how many more are there? That's the big news. Donna Lass's remains had been discovered in 86, had now been identified and dumped on the side of the road very, very, very close to another Jane Doe who was definitely strangled. Apparently not sexually assaulted. But see, there was more than one hillside strangler, as we have learned. Okay, is that enough? I don't want this show to devolve into me rambling. So, what I can do... Oh, I can't change that. Okay, what I can... So, Sunday's episode will be regular theater screen. And we're going to jump right into... we're going to continue the Epstein... Who was Epstein working for, getting in this, and then what this has to do with the recent arrest of Slade Somer and the recent suicides of a bunch of people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We'll pick that up again on Sunday, New Year's Eve, 2 p.m. Central Time, that's Chicago time, 2023, December 31st, 2023. I will see you guys, maybe 3 o'clock. I think a lot of people prefer the 3 o'clock, right? No, 2 o'clock. It's going to be 2 o'clock, whether you like it or not. 2 o'clock, New Year's Eve. 2 o'clock p.m. New Year's Eve. Not 2 a.m. New Year's Day. Until then, Good night. God bless. Please spay and neuter your cannibals and stay plugged into Professor Dad. Professor Dad will be back real soon, okay? And so I guess the test worked, and I'll talk to you guys later. Stop streaming here.